priority list. I mean, they won the game. Echo really didn't like get in their way of stopping that. But the first ban champion will be Lee Sin, aiming at Kondi-san. He's a big Lee Sin player. Alistar will be aimed at Hiva. Alistar has just been this massive support, which is just seen in every single region. And a lot of people have said that how it's kind of almost taking the skill out of Alistar now, because all you really have to do is just like pulverize them and go for the easy combos.
Yeah, it's less about comboing, more about just spacing those abilities. So we won't be seeing that in this game, and neither will we be seeing Kalista. And that's interesting because Kalista, at this point, I kind of want to draw it back to the Lee Sin ban, actually. At this point, no other junglers are banned out right now, so there's no real pressure to look for a jungler as the first pick, so they're turning to the AD carries right now to actually ban the way. The Kalista ban now opens up the possibility for a Sivir pick if you really wanted it as a first pick. I don't really think it fits G2's style, to be honest, but interesting after yesterday's game as Kalista, they don't want to prioritize it as a first pick.
Yeah, so that will be taken away from this game entirely. Ryze comes out as the red side ban, but not the final red side ban, so they didn't even wait for the Gamers 2 to potentially ban that themselves, and they came in with the last Morgana ban.
At this point, there is a lot that's available. Echo still now not available.
Okay.
Sivir available, Gragas, Rek'Sai. I don't think you need to rush to get either Gragas or Rek'Sai at this point, just because of how really only the Lee Sin banned away. It depends on what they think Konzi-san is good on. We'll see whether they do prioritize a jungler. It's not a bad play, but it certainly isn't necessary right now at this point in time.
I mean, Gamers 2 pick up a jungler, and then Overclockers take the other one. So
yeah, exactly.
They can go for a more priority pick here. They are, again, taking the time with this one, but they have a plethora of different options. They could run a flex, they could just do something normal, or they could just take Gragas and let Overclockers have what they want.
Okay, well, I don't mind that so much in the grand scheme of things. You're picking up a strong pick for yourself, but you leave a lot open here that is still available. Rek'Sai, you know, is probably going to be the obvious one in response from Overclockers now. You've also got Azir open, you've got Sivir open. There are a lot of high priority picks that we've seen, especially now, as I said, with that Kalista, the actual stock that Sivir has on the game goes up quite a bit now.
Yeah, with that off the board, of course. So Overclockers maybe toying with the idea of Evelynn to Gragas. It's not the worst matchup in the world. It allows Evelynn to do pretty much what she wants to do in the game. But again, just taking their time with this champion select, just feeling this one out completely. Kuban, because he is a big Irelia player, has not been banned out, but he actually opts towards the Rumble in this game. And Rek'Sai, well, we did talk about that being the opposite.
That is a really early Rumble in picks and bans, and we've started to see a couple of picks come through the pipeline here to kind of go up against the Rumble. We know that Rumble does very well into kind of standard matchups like a Maokai, but if anybody has been, you know, keeping track of picks and bans across the world, obviously now Ryze not available. I'm looking at other options that are up for top lane. I wonder if Smitty J has been watching LCK at this point. Because normally when you see a Rumble locked in this early, there we go, I was going to get to it. Normally when you see a Rumble this early locked in LCK, a Riven comes out. And that's the match the Smeb's been playing, and I don't know whether it's a Smitty J champion. Because there are Riven mains, and then there's everybody else that doesn't play Riven.
Yeah, it's true, but Smeb went huge with that champion as well. If you remember, he actually got the first pentakill of the season. He's locked in the Riven, this is amazing. And then also the Sivir, but you're boring, I'm more interested in the Riven right now. But yeah, Smeb picked up the first pentakill in LCK very recently. He's actually been playing that in a lot of matchups and has just done super well with the champion.
Yeah, I was kind of hesitant on it because I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, you have to be confident on a champion like Riven. You've been playing a lot of Riven yourself, and you
my whole match history is losses currently.
But you endlessly are like talking about how difficult Riven is as a champion to play. You've got to animation cancel so many of your abilities to get a proper combo off. Now we're seeing it up against the Rumble. I'm really intrigued to see how strong Smitty J, or I guess in this case Smebby J, is going to do with the Riven. But Riven isn't the only kind of pick we haven't seen in a while coming out here. That's a Tristana coming in for Celaver as well. Late scaling AD carry will be able to blast Riven back in team fights as well. So there is a lot of nuances in this game that we're going to have to get to.
Yeah, so you have Knockback Central on Overclockers. They've got the Janna now coming in, all of the CC. You're going to have more protection for the backline. This is going to make it very difficult for the Riven, but it's a Riven into Rumble, so it's a question of how much is going to happen there. But Gamers 2 have their two final picks to lock in. And what do they pick from here? What makes a good composition? Apparently Azir will be fitting into this one, so they'll have the mobility from Sivir, they'll have the Azir coming in as well. I'm just waiting on the final pick now for Gamers 2.
They had to supplement a little bit of their wave clear and ability to push towers as well in this mid lane pick. With a Riven top lane, clearly your wave clear just goes through the floor. Gragas doesn't offer too much. Sivir will offer a lot of wave clear and the ability to siege, but now with an Azir, you can take down turrets very quickly. You can start pushing, you know, using the soldiers clearing the waves as well. So this is a nice way of rounding it out, and he gives them really really good engage potential now. Civirani into the Gragas Cask should be enough to lock people down, split them up, and Riven should be able to get a good couple of picks off in team fights, as long as they get the right kind of positioning.
Yeah, this composition has actually worked out really well for Gamers 2, but we'll touch on that in a minute because Overclockers now with their final pick. It should be the mid lane here as they have the Tristana. Probably won't be seeing a funky double AD comp coming out here.
Yeah, at this point, I'm kind of looking down the lineup for Overclockers, and they've got scaling from Tristana, they've got mid-game coming from Rumble. Typically, one of the skill matchups here in this mid lane that you could end up looking for would be the Cassiopeia. There are other options, Orianna being hovered over right now as well. To be honest, the Lulu is available if they wanted to play Protect the Tristana.
Yep.
So there are a lot of mid lane options that have been left open here for Overclockers. We know Takefun likes to play his assassins, and those have fallen off.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to see what Takefun goes with. And is it going to be the Cassiopeia? Yes, it is. So they're going double scaling, double threat composition here. They actually have a third threat in the way of Rumble. A lot of magic damage, relying on Tristana for the link.
Yeah, I actually like this adaptation by Takefun as well, because he briefly touched on the fact that he used to be an assassin player. The meta has shifted away from that with lots of nerfs across the board. Cassiopeia, another high skill cap champion, which Takefun will take to like a duck to water, but if it was like going to Orianna and Lulu, it would be like taking the fun away from Takefun. So I'm glad that he's gone towards the Cassiopeia.
Taking the fun away from Takefun.
Yeah. But we haven't gone there, so
well,
good times.
you went there. Okay, it's fine. I thought you meant by the wordplay that was there. I don't know whether that was intentional.
Yeah.
Okay, it was good, because that was almost accidentally a really good pun. But in this setup,
Any more time. Gamers 2 up against Overclockers for our first game of the summer split. Our first game that you're going to see with our voices over it for sure. Overclockers kind of come in here with this Cassiopeia and the Tristana. I don't see Tristana every day, but more importantly, there's Riven. Sporting the Battle Bunny Riven as well. Good play.
Well, Smitty J, we're going to have to see how his Riven skills are.
Yeah, I'm particularly looking for the combos, because I've learnt the combos, I just can't do them. So I'll be able to watch out for them, but I'll be like, there's no way I could actually mechanically execute that in-game.
That truly is the curse of a commentator. Yeah. It's like, I know all of these things, but me actually doing them, that's a different story. But there's a lot of damage in the mid lane to begin this off. But to start this game out, I kind of want to focus a lot, not just on that top lane, but whether we're going to end up in a lane swap here, because it now is the question of, do Overclockers look to swap onto the Riven and put damage down? That's actually way more damage on mid lane. Perkz now having to go back makes it somewhat more dangerous for G2 to be making this play into the top side, but with the duo lane down at the enemy Krugs, they are actually okay for now.
Yeah, toying with fire for a little bit perhaps. Overclockers, nice, managed to take out that ward using the auto-attack reset from Queen's Wrath. So that is vision in the bank for Overclockers. We're able to put Salar and Libic into the bottom side of the map as well and get down those lane swap wards.
And yeah, those wards, you can see how important they're going to be, because Gamers 2 don't want to end up really with Riven in a 2 versus 1 situation. Being melee range is tough enough, but being everything melee from Riven is pretty difficult to actually do anything to begin the game. Kuban is going to join Konzi-san for now. Where are the bottom lanes going to end up? This Tristana and the Janna have stayed on the bottom side, and G2 right now have put theirs up in the top side. So now it's on how much experience can Riven gain through the jungle. Will we see the Riven go to another lane, perhaps, to kind of assist on a gank?
Yeah, very possible. Do have a lot of CC in the early game, even with 2 skills. Hiva, though, one-man army in the jungle. We actually saw this in the Nordic Open, where Hiva went into the opposing jungle 1v5, often died.
He took the red buff as well when last time we saw him do this play. Yeah, that was a couple of weeks ago back. DreamHack, funnily enough, was playing with Jez's in that game as well, so they've certainly had a lot of time to cement their duo lane prowess. And now we're seeing it brought to the Challenger Series. So with the 2v1s in operation, we can see Gamers 2 are looking at being behind the tower mid lane. Perkz is even shoving up with this one, and now he's forced Takefun to the wall. I wonder whether we'll see them either force Takefun back or get an early flash out of him by coming in from behind the turret.
Yeah, there's a lot going on right now where both teams are just trying to find the information, where we saw Libic actually go up there and place down a ward at the red buff for Gamers 2, just to try and track the location of Gilius, as Kondi-san is in the bottom side, so he doesn't have that tracking mechanism. In the top lane, Kuban has run back to base quite rightly, and now we just have this fast push into the top lane, which we're just seeing more and more now.
And look at how far behind Overclockers are right now when you look at things. Kuban 0 CS, yes, only 1 on Riven, but also still level 1 for Kubon's Rumble. Now he's going to try and actually jungle on a camp himself, and Rumble is not one of the best junglers when it comes to it, so that's an interesting play out of Kubon to get himself some experience, but at the same time, the cost of the damage down onto top lane here for SmittyJ and Gamers2 is going a long way in their favor. Bottom side is dying a little bit slower, should just about fall when that explosive charge on the tower falls for Tristana. Actually, no, not going to at this point. Didn't quite do enough damage this early on.
Needing the wave, but they should be able to get it. Only now is Jesus and Hiva heading into that bot lane, so shouldn't be able to get to that turret in time. But that will change the ebb and flow of this game pretty significantly now that the bottom turret and the top turret is down. So SmittyJ can take this wave in top lane, but it eventually is going to push into the top lane of Kubon, and then SmittyJ will have to find something else to do to occupy his time.
A lot of the weaknesses of Riven being stuck 1 versus 2 have now kind of been neutralized. Riven can sit over in the side lane and get a little bit of farm should she choose to, but I'm interested to see when these two match up 1 versus 1, which looks like it's about to happen. Riven has the experience advantage as well, so that's a fight that I want to keep my eyes on. But in the jungle currently is where Gamers2 are putting the pressure down on the bottom side of the map. So Take Fun has had a lot of people around his lane, but no real impact yet.
Not just yet, but with Gilius and Hiva in the wings, we might see a gank to Take Fun. Looks like not. They'll be heading into the bot lane, maybe try and get this counter push off. Kondi-san going to take this crab, which will give him the gold and the vision for the early game. Pretty nice for him. And he might head up into the top lane. Kubon is actually pushing this wave into the turret of Smitty though, so I'm not sure if we can get that gank off. Celaver will have to back off in the bot lane. Hiva not quite in range to land his stun from Pyromania, so they'll be putting the hurt onto this turret, but I don't think they can really take it by themselves in this 2-on-2. And Kondi-san is Patient Hunter in the top side of the map.
Yeah, patiently going for Gromp. There's nothing all that patient about that for now, but Gilius is on the bottom side of the map. No camps for him to find down there. He's going to spot a Rek'Sai tunnel. Tunnel will die, and then Overclockers know exactly where the Gragas is going to be. So we have matched up standard lanes right now, and again, at this point, Riven a little bit ahead in CS, but a lot of that comes from that early start.
Wow, look at that fan vote. 83% over to Gamers2. Very interesting up against Overclockers here. Definitely got the faith in the Riven pick. Not sure if he can go full Smeb in this game and get the Penta, but there's still time. There's still time. Konzi-san in the top lane looking for this gank on to Mr. SmittyJ himself. He has the flash up. And he is now level 5. Oh, he's used the Q. This will be the signal for Rek'Sai to go in. Utilizes the tunnel, but is not able to get the Umburo and the kill. So he'll be backing off for now. Kubon goes into overheat and will be trying to farm out and push this wave in.
Yeah, we'll be pushing it in, but Hiva is looking for a lot of harass down. Takes a lot in return is the problem. Every time Hiva goes closer, that fire alarm is going to go off over his head and chunk him a little bit of the health. So as this game continues, I really am looking to see whether they can shut Celaver down, because Celaver is a player that we've seen on Tristana in previous games, back in spring, you know, just throughout history with his time playing on the many-named lineup of Overclockers. And we certainly know what he can do given the chance, but it's we're not going to get there quite yet in this game.
Yeah, I mean, what's for certain is this game has been fairly slow despite the Riven pick, but this falls right into the hands of Overclockers. And as we talk about Overclockers, they're putting in damage onto Hiva. Ding, 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 damage onto Annie. But this is what they want. They want this slow game to allow Cassiope to scale up, allow Stella to scale up, and then they can go for these fights. I guess the only real issue as we get later into the game is Kondi-san's initiation is fairly like situational, because he has to get the burrow, which is a slow dash, which can be interrupted by a lot of things from Gamers2, or he has to have the flash.
Yeah, you can see Riven now, first back up in the top side. Seeker's Arm Guard has come out from Kubon, as the rest of Gamers2 are going to be pushing down, well, trying to steal away the blue. It's a Hex Drinker start coming out from Riven, so obviously looking to survive a little bit longer in those fights against the Rumble, but really we haven't seen all that much when it comes to an explosive situation between the two, but Riven is ahead. Yeah. And hopefully, if you're SmittyJ, you're thinking that Hex Drinker is going to keep you alive for a lot longer, because it should do.
Yeah, Hex Drinker will be his early game option. Expecting probably a Tiamat to come in
Yep.
now because it is incredibly important for SmittyJ's combos to get the animation cancelling down. So most likely the next pickup. The other option would have been to go Brutalizer into the Tiamat, but with this game with a double AP threat, it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yes. Yes, indeed. But G2 are being very active on the map. I think I said that they were stealing away the blue, but it was actually Perkz taking his own blue.
I mean, I guess it's stealing away from the jungler, right?
Oh, I just had one of those moments where you forget what side of the map blue side and red side are.
Well, we
It's
did
okay.
swap up from yesterday.
We
so-
did, but that's no excuse. But this time G2 are in the enemy jungle and are clearing out wards. And Hiva has joined them in the middle lane as well. So this is pretty much 3 or 4 people from the G2 side around this mid lane. But again, TakeFun is able to just sit back and just farm out the wave, keep himself even in this matchup.
So Gamers 2 gave the red buff over to Gilius, it looks like, but that just allowed Conti-san to go into the bottom sides of the map and take away the red buff from Gamers 2. He actually left the small minions up, so he'll have to be clearing that one out in the second. Conti-san taking away the pink ward here as well, and we'll be boring back to safety. So overall, mid lane has been fairly passive with this Cassiopeia Azir matchup. Gone for the early tier, as expected, and looking like it's going to be an early Morellonomicon for Perkz. So that does signal that he'll be looking for some earlier fights, and Gamers 2 will be maybe shifting gears in the next couple minutes.
Yeah, I certainly expect Gamers to shift the gears and start putting the pressure on, because one of the problems that they are going to have for Gamers 2 is that if they get into team fights, the Rumble is going to have a lot more impact right now than the Riven is. Riven still needs to find the 1v1 a little bit more against Rumble, make sure she can snowball in this game. However, team fights, as I said, gonna favor Kuban. Kuban has been fairly smart. After the lane swap now, got himself through the very treacherous early game, has just been farming up the wave and backing off, not really facing off against SmittyJ. This is one of the first times that Kuban has been in a situation where SmittyJ is around and he kind of has just backed, so has to kind of sit there doing not a lot until it really pushes under the tower.
Yeah, the only other time we saw them 1v1 and Conti-san was there to babysit Kuban in case of danger. So this is kind of interesting because such a slow game with a Riven in it, this feels like it's going to hurt Gamers 2 quite a lot as the game progresses, because Riven, there's a lot of things to be fearful of from the OC lineup, but coming out for a second as Hiva takes a fair chunk of damage from Celaver and Livic, and he goes pop with the E. The teleport now coming in from Kuban will be zoning away a potential counter gang from Gilius, and it looks like Overclockers may be able to close in around this dragon off that kill. That was just catching Hiva off guard.
Earlier you said ding 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 damage, that time it was ding 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 dead.
Yeah.
As Hiva gets picked off early. And the TP actually isn't the end of the world here for Overclockers, because now they have the position on the dragon. And they brought Riven down. Yes, now Gamers 2 will have teleport advantage, so Overclockers have to play carefully. But in general, they get the kill, they get the dragon. Now they just have to be careful not to let SmittyJ get in behind them and set themselves up a pick for Gamers 2.
Yeah, that was also a really nice ultimate by Kuban just at the end there to zone away Gamers 2 from the dragon. Couldn't just stand there and take the damage. Equalizer does a lot of damage, pretty much no matter what state Rumble's in. But a bunch of people have gone back to base and picked up some items. Morellonomicon has been completed now by Perkz. Nothing really to fight over as such, but there it is. Jin in the jungle. Gilius has now gone for the Sightstone, so looking for the early vision to potentially set up these plays as you see him wobble into the bot lane. I guess that's a verb, right? And then on the opposing side, Conti-san with his Cinderhawk and a Skirmisher Saber. So fairly standard across the board. Didn't go for Chilling Smite, I guess, is the only other thing.
No, didn't opt for that. Sorry, I was just kind of distracted a little bit while TakeFun fully stacked his tiers. He kind of bought 2 Null Magics, or 2 Negatron Cloaks, then bought 2 tiers. Had to kind of refund, well, you know, use the undo tool. It had me distracted. I just actually double checked whether he had to sell a tier, because that would be a little bit of gold down the drain. But no, it was just the undo.
Quite a lot of gold down the drain.
Speaking of his tier, though, it is currently just under 300 stacks on it. So TakeFun has been given a lot of freedom in this game. Considering the amount of people that have been around his lane, he's had a lot of freedom to just do whatever he wants, which is farm. That's all he wants to do for now. And honestly, ever since those first towers have gone down, neither team has been all that active on pressuring for further objectives. We've seen the 2v2s constantly meeting, and at this point, Overclockers have just been able to deny the push from Jezzy's and Hiva again and again. However, Smitty J is getting... he wants it. He wants the CS. Oh.
Huh.
Oh.
Go for the next one.
Yeah.
Oh.
Oh, I guess I'm waiting for him to use all his abilities.
There we go.
And there he goes.
Down. And the Equalizer Wisp turning around will get the stun down. There's the key strike, looking for the damage from Gilius as well. In with the body slam and the follow of the wind slash. And down goes Condi-san. Smitty J, great reaction. And great reaction by Gilius to counter.
Yeah, they were waiting for all of the Q combo to be used there, so it wasn't an easy escape. Turns out it was an easy escape because Kuban's ult kind of just went crazily sideways, didn't even really clip Smitty J at all at that point, and they need that extra damage if they want to kill a Riven. Yes, okay, Riven is very mobile, can kind of dart around, and that ult did not let her go back through her lane, but Jungler of Gilius comes up the river anyway and helps her out. Now they're trying to steal the red buff again from Overclockers, and they get it. Gilius gets a steal.
And Smitty J actually turning around to go for some damage there. Will be knocked up by Condi-san, lands the two-man knock-up. Hiva is getting chunked once again. Emperor's Divide comes in to block off Overclockers, and Hiva escapes with his life. Oh, Prey Seeker by Condi-san does not quite catch him as he gets the Speed Shrine away. And Smitty J and Hiva both in critical HP.
Perkz with a really nice denial through that little path there, just to stop Overclockers. That was a pretty good setup for Overclockers when you look at it. They got that good flash knock-up coming out from Condi-san. Take Fun landed his ultimate on a couple of people there as well. This will give Overclockers the ability to just clear out some of the wards that are around the jungle areas and look for red steel of their own, but it ain't up right now, Condi-san. Sorry, man.
Yeah, it feels like he just forgot about the fact that he didn't get the timer because before, because he cleared it out, or didn't completely clear it out, which meant that Games 2 then had the timer. So, right place, wrong time.
Unfortunate.
Unlucky.
I mean, they've now given the Riven a kill, which shouldn't be enough to snowball the game, but certainly makes it even more difficult for Kuban at any point to sit in front of Smitty J. I mean, it was difficult enough as it was. Now you've got a Riven that has got a Brutalizer and the Ionian Boots of Lucidity on top of that. So I would not want to be Kuban right now because he's going to struggle to find his impact without teleporting into fights. Speaking of teleport, it's about to come up again for Kuban on Rumble. So with Dragon in 1 minute 30, I imagine they'll hold on to that to utilize it, that Dragon fight.
Seems to be the case. 1 minute 20 on that. Have managed to catch out Libic just a little, and he shields himself in time, so doesn't take all that much harass from the Emperor. Perkz there in the middle lane. Has gone for the blasting one now. It's getting a little bit stronger. Item Spike has been achieved by Libic. He has the Infinity Edge. Jezz, however, has not gone back to base. He has 1,200 gold in the bank. So he'll be going for his Infinity Edge soon, and he'll want to do that very soon, because Dragon will be up in a minute.
Yeah, exactly. He's going to do Krugs. Now he's been warded out, so they've seen exactly where Jezz was before he backs. Good push onto the middle lane. Again, as I said, this Azir with the Annie as well is going to push down turrets very quickly if nobody is there to defend them. With the ward going down in the bottom lane, they'd already seen Tristana bottom too, so they knew there were enough people not defending the turret that they could get it. As Condi-san will fly himself through the rift, ready for the Dragon, but he's 20 seconds early. So now they just will be able to secure some vision control.
Oh, yeah, being early to the party is not always a bad thing. So we'll just allow him to set up before this one. Kuban in the top lane has actually opted towards the Zhonya's Hourglass first before going for any of his penetration items. A little scared of Smitty, which makes a lot of sense. Sundisk goes down in the middle lane. Dragon has now spawned. Overclockers are the first one to this, and Games 2 are not in position to contest this, which is interesting, because this feels like their window of opportunity to go for a fight.
Especially considering the Gamers 2 knew that the Dragon had the rough timer they had, because there was that fight that followed the first Dragon.
Yeah.
A little bit interesting out of Gamers 2, really just relieving the pressure, and that is kind of problematic when you look at the fact that Gamers 2 have to get Smitty J to snowball. They are still ahead with the tower pushing, and if they can continue to do that, and it may end up still going in their favor, but honestly, Gamers 2 right now They're not in a bad spot. They're fairly far ahead in the middle lane. That is where a lot of this lead is coming from. 193 CS to 171 here. So this is going to become huge. And Perkz had a good enough game yesterday. If he can do the same again, Gamers 2 could be in a good spot.
Could be. That is the goal. Heaver placing down many wards over the wall, and many wards being taken away by Libic in the bottom lane. Jesus clearing out this wave. Looks like the next objective to push in the bottom lane is Gamers 2 looking towards this tower. Now they back away. So this has been a oddly slow game from the lead up we had in Champion Select. But
yeah,
things have happened. Not quite as rapidly as we maybe thought.
Yeah, it has been a much slower paced game. 1 kill to 1. 19 minutes in. Only 2 towers to 1 as well. Especially considering it started with a lane swap. Sometimes you'd expect there to have been a little bit more rotational play. Especially when you look at a Sivir and an Annie kind of composition with an Azir. You'd expect them to get into the lanes and push towers down a bit faster, but this Tristana and the Janna in the bottom lane has just denied so many waves again and again. And it's only really been Jezzy's down in the bottom lane against 2, so he hasn't had the ability to push at all. Heaver's been elsewhere on the map. And hasn't really got anything to show for it. Yes, he's had good vision control, but that's about it.
Yeah, Gamers 2 have very good vision control. A couple just timed out in the river, but it's pretty much all down in the bottom side of the map. Overclockers also have responded with a little bit. Maybe called out Jez in the bottom lane, though. Saliva's there with the damage. Buster shot comes through, but he actually blasts away his prey. And Jez didn't even have to use his flash in that scenario.
A little bit of a weird timing out of Saliva there. Should have waited on the Buster shot, but Jez's did get chunked very low. Saliva now is able to clear out the wave and again stops Jez's from having any impact in that bottom lane, and that will benefit Saliva right now. The fact that he can go 1 versus 1 on Jez's at this point for a scaling AD carry is great for Saliva, and again, Saliva is going to have greater impact later into the game, and that is maybe one of the last bastions for Overclockers here to hang on. They have a Cassiopeia who is also going to scale as well, and they are only a little bit down in gold. It's only really the 1 tower separates the 2, but this is a fairly even game when you consider they have 2 dragons to their name as well.
Yeah, I still have to feel like the later this game goes on, the better Overclockers are going to look compared to Gamers 2, unless they snowball. And the weird thing is, Gamers 2 have not like found the windows of opportunity and really like seized them, because that last dragon, nothing happened.
Well, this is a very weird dynamic, or I say weird, probably more expected. Overclockers always have been playing for the late game. In almost every one of their compositions, they've always been more confident in how they play later into the game. And Gamers 2 at the end of last split, their late game decision making was not great. The games against Maus that they lost with the Teemo, where they just stood around for 20 minutes not doing anything. Ult didn't quite hit the mark from Take Fun. Gamers 2 have changed things up now. With Perkz, with Jez's, we'll see how much that changes of their decision making, but honestly, last split it wasn't so stellar in the late game. So again, another thing that possibly could favor Overclockers. However, we cannot overlook just the strength of this composition that is just going to run at Overclockers. At some point, Gamers 2 are going to be in a position where they feel comfortable enough to take a team fight, and at that point their engage potential is so strong.
Gamers 2 do have Perkz on a late game scaling champion again, like yesterday. He was actually on the Vlad yesterday.
Yeah.
Which did work out for them. So maybe with the changes they've made so far, this will do better the game goes on. Of course, the Sivir will start to come into effect.
Ooh,
There's the Equalizer. That will clear out the minion wave. Zhonya's comes out. Maybe not completely needed, but at the same time didn't want to risk being taken out underneath the turret. So either way, we'll be fine. Saliva and Smitty now in this top lane 1v1. Saliva does have to respect the Riven, but he has the Buster shot and his flash and rocket jump to get away from danger.
Is that enough? I've played against Rivens, and sometimes you just feel, oh, she's still chasing me. Riven is basically the Terminator, the Liquid Terminator, Terminator 2.
Just keeps on coming.
Just like claws onto the back of the helmet. Yeah, that's
scary stuff.
Exactly.
I mean, Smitty J is doing well this game. He has all the components of being a Riven, but Saliva over time has eroded the tower. It has gone down. Kondi-san wants this ward, and Gilius, I don't think he's going to be able to stop him, but now with Heaver there, he will. So
yeah, I was going to say
Kondi-san will be back for this ward.
He'll be back. How many Terminator references are we going with?
We'll keep going. I'm sure we can fit another couple.
That means we have to start putting Ys randomly in things for the next one. Oh dear. But Dragon is coming up. There ain't no Y in that one. And Gamers 2 have the area secured this time around. This would be the third for Overclockers if they can get in there. And it doesn't look quite like they can yet. Riven has this recall, does have teleport available. Both top laners do. So Gamers 2 right now. Their wards are expiring too. That's they're going to have trouble now seeing Overclockers coming down through the jungle towards the Dragon.
So this last ward from Overclockers will be taken away. They have one left in an actually pretty good position, which is actually behind Gamers 2 if they're looking for the teleport here with Kubon. But Smitty J does still have his own teleport here, Stress. So leading up to this fight, Gamers 2 are in a much better position to contest this or do something about this next Dragon.
And Kubon actually has run down to this Dragon as well, so no teleports necessary from either top laner. And in fact, it's only really the one earlier that Kubon used kind of after the fact to get to the first Dragon that has had any impact. This time around though, look, this is what the reduced vision is just doing for Overclockers. It means that Gamers 2 can just take down the Dragon. Jez's has been split off, but Kanzi-san is caught.
He's also cut off from his own team, gets stunned with the Pyromania. Hiva locks him down, and Jez's will come out with the kill. That 2-item AD carry is now starting to hurt quite a bit. So that one kill plus the Dragon over to Gamers 2, now they're starting to accelerate.
And there was no response coming out from Overclockers. They had both their carries and Libic in the middle lane. Nobody moved to come down towards the Dragon. They got nothing in exchange for that Dragon. Take Fun Flash!
Oh, the flash into the ultimate lands onto 2, but the return with the Tippers will get the stun down, but it's underneath turret. There's nothing that Gamers 2 can follow up on, and he will bite the dust for it. So a 1-0 over to Overclockers, but now the sun just comes up, and it's always going to target Celeber until it actually spawns, and down goes the minions. So they have managed to stop the end of that fight there from Overclockers, but it was a good defense.
At this point, Overclockers just kind of half gifted and engaged there by the fact that Gamers 2 walk up to the turret, not respecting the flash ultimate that's going to come from a Cassiopeia. If 3 or 4 people face a turret against a Cassiopeia, she just throws down the W, flash ultimates after the wave has started to be cleared out. And it's easy pickings at that point. So Overclockers hold on. They did, however, lose. You know, they lost the Dragon to begin with. They lost a member in that fight. So this has started going in the favor of Gamers 2. Overclockers just slowed any continuing pressure.
Yeah, so Overclockers will want to stall. Gamers 2 aren't going to be too unhappy with the game if it does so, as they are still ahead, and they are now on the board in terms of Dragons, but it's going to take a long time if Gamers 2 want to use the 5 Dragons as their way to finish off the game. Kondi-san, though, is sitting on top of ward. He doesn't have the Raptor buff, but will be warding up himself. Vision has been pretty solid from both teams overall. They've generally had the vision that they've needed to. The only real blunder we've seen so far is Overclockers with that last Dragon, where they essentially had no vision apart from that one ward behind Gamers 2.
So we're 26 minutes in this Riven pick. We were wondering how Smitty J was going to fare. The fact that it's been a quiet game has not favoured Smitty J at all. They haven't really been able to get him snowballed. This, however, may very well do.
Yeah, Kubon, good luck getting away here. Windslash will come across. Does get
timing.
Zhonya'd up, and Libic is here to shield him. Knock away with the Monsoon as well. Should be able to keep him alive for a little bit longer. Hiva gets knocked up, and the Miasma will keep him in place, unable to follow up. Hiva did have the stun ready to go. So Kubon did burn the flash away from... actually, didn't have to use the flash, so only used the Zhonya's. So Kubon, after all that, didn't lose that much.
Another situation where this Riven pick hasn't quite paid off. I mean, they get the engage. Kubon had to use his ultimate, and they had to use the Janna ult too. If they can transfer it into a Baron, that would be a massive play coming from it. This is by no means a secure objective, because Rek'Sai's coming in, it is secure now. Okay, at this point, Overclockers didn't really react to that as fast as they could have. So it is a secure objective going for Gamers 2. Now Celeber's shoved up in the mid lane.
So after all that, it did turn out to be worth. Flash into the body slam, and the ultimate does not land. Gilius stands there and is like, what am I doing with my life? And Celeber walks away.
Well, I really like that out of Gamers 2, though, is they realized how much they needed to get something from that to keep this game rolling. So they go for the Baron, which the fact that Kanzi-san wasn't around made it a lot safer than it should have been at that point. Everybody was still alive, and Kubon still had teleport, so there was the real danger in that situation that Overclockers could have looked to get themselves around the Baron, but with the Azir, with the the damage that's coming from this Riven and the Sivir, they actually had quite fast Baron clear, a little bit faster than I was anticipating. When we kind of scrolled over it and it was already at 4,000 health, I'm thinking, okay, they've got this one.
That was also when Lipic placed the ward over the wall, so
Yeah.
he was thinking the exact same thing as that happened.
Yeah,
But,
they can't be doing it that quick. Oh,
it's dead.
oh, it's gone.
Well. But yeah, Smitty J, I mean, you're talking about how it maybe hasn't paid off with the Riven pick, but he is still 50 CS over
Yes.
his counterpart. He is still a kill over Kuban as well.
That's the point I was going to kind of come back to, is that it hasn't snowballed out of control like you'd expect a Riven to need to do, but it has neutralized Kuban when it comes to his effectiveness on the game. Outside of team fights, Kuban will always be effective in team fights, but apart from that, really Kuban hasn't been able to do anything in this game.
That's true. Smitty J as well had to be very careful in those team fights,
Yeah.
more so than the Rumble. It is difficult to get into a fight as Riven without being instantly blown up. But Gilius and Perks, if they can land their ultimates in the right place, can split up the fight for him. Bottom turret will be going down to Gamers 2. And everyone is getting very well built in terms of items right now. With 29 minutes, everyone's just been farming.
Yeah, and we've gone about 5 minutes. Well, in the last 5 minutes, a lot of towers have gone down in favor of Gamers 2. They're utilizing this composition with the Azir, with the Sivir, to get themselves in front of turrets and just shove them down. Because they know if they were to look to put Smitty J over in a side lane, they know nobody can really duel him at this point either. And the only people that really would be able to clear the waves particularly fast would be the Cassiopeia or the Tristana, and even then you can't afford to not have them defend. So at this point, Gamers 2 have a lot of options when it comes to spreading their troops across the map and taking down objectives, and I'm glad to see that they've actually started to react to that.
It's interesting, actually put that on the sidelines for a second as the two teams may be finding each other. Jazzers will be backing off. But Smitty J has just picked up the last Whisper, which is interesting because the only major armor item that's been picked up so far is from Kuban. Only now is Kondi-san building armor, so I question whether that's worth it, going over something like the Ravenous Hydra, which you would have had enough for.
That's an interesting one. I would say I have an answer for that, but right now, I must admit, not being a Riven main, I would imagine you have to pick up Last Whisper at some point in there, and if he had the gold, he'd probably been sitting on a lot, going, oh, okay, I'll just buy it now. But G2, a little bit caught out.
Yeah, Petrifying Gaze comes across, doesn't really hit anything, but Heaver again is the one to be caught out. He flashes further into the base of Overclockers. It's a bold play and didn't pay off. Kuban will be flashing away here, is dropping low, has the shield and no from Janna. Windslash comes across and doesn't get the kill onto anything, just out-damages Celeber. Perks in with the Shurima Shuffle, takes down one target, he'll be falling in turn, but this is a very bloody fight. 3 kills for free. Jezzers and Smitty J are still alive, and Kuban and Livic are here to try and fend them up.
G2 looked like they'd been caught again by Take Fun's ultimate as they were facing into the base, and it looked pretty detrimental to G2's success in this game, but Perks once again comes up huge on this Azir. Really turns that fight around for Gamers 2. They are going to take this Dragon down as well, but again, G2 are forcing this game earlier, trying to close this game earlier because they have to respect the late game from Overclockers, and G2 are starting to close this game out a lot better. Let's take a look back. This is as the turret dies. Equalizer kind of cuts everybody off. Doesn't really deal a lot of damage for Overclockers at this point. And yes, Celeber comes in and lands the damage, but let's watch for Perks' ultimate, because that really is the turning point of this team fight. Smitty J manages to bait a lot of people down and out towards the side. Windslash, as you said, didn't really get anybody, but Perks goes in 1 versus 3, manages to pick off the damage that's coming out. Yes, Take Fun is still there, but he soon gets forced out by Smitty J. Can't 1v1 the Riven at this point, and that's a done deal for Gamers 2.
Also, a very important part of that fight was Smitty tried to execute his kill combo where he activates his ultimate, flashes in, but immediately he was knocked back by Celeber's Buster Shot, which interrupted his kill combo. So that's why all the damage looked like it came from Perks, because it did.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And the difficulty there is, as the Windslash came out, it kind of hit a lot of high health targets. Yep. That's not what you want.
No.
That is not
he
what
had them
you
lined
want
up
at
and
all.
Celeber messed it up.
Yeah, it's if he had all of the damage beforehand, he would have done a lot. But because you know Windslash, for people that maybe don't play so much Riven, the ultimate damage is based on how much health they're missing. So lower health targets, going to take them out faster.
I believe it reaches maximum damage when they're below 25% HP. That's when it hits its peak with the damage. But yeah, it turns out to be quite a lot as an execute, funny enough.
Yep, but you got to get them that low.
Yeah.
That time it didn't work out for SmittyJ, but what is working out for Gamers 2 right now? Super Minions in the mid lane, pushing through, and now they're sieging in the top side. We've already kind of talked about a couple of times how G2 have this ability to push down towers, provided that one or more is missing. And again, SmittyJ this time, this is what they need to do. Nobody really can 1v1 the Riven, so now they set up the push in top lane. They have to contend with a Cassiopeia and a Tristana, which will clear the waves fairly quickly. But look at Jez's damage already. One wave and they got a quarter of the turret health down.
Yeah, SmittyJ looking to just carry on pushing the middle lane, constantly put out that pressure, and it will be Kuban trying to clear out the waves. But it just means that someone has to leave, and slowly the top tower will be chunked out by Gamers 2. They just need to be a little patient in this one to take out this turret. But they are currently 6 turrets to 2, so they're in no real rush. They've already accelerated the game to a certain extent. So that was a lot of damage. Where did that come from? Oh, it must have been Perks as a rise.
Yes, it was. It was Perks just pointing at the
order
turret.
is given,
And
die.
Ah, dear. Yeah, that turret fell pretty quickly. But honestly, right now, Overclockers, the situation they're in isn't game-endingly dire. That's not even a sentence, but I'm going to stick with it. It's not the sentence I wanted, but it's the sentence I deserve. Because Overclockers still have the scaling on their side of things when it comes to their 2 carries looking to get late game. However, you can see that Perks has a lot of damage himself, and Celaver last time stepped forward in the fight, ended up falling for it. So Perks certainly has scaling himself.
Yep, that's not a lie. Gamers 2 now backing off into the top side of the river. They are being tracked by Condi San's burrow, the Tremor Sense. Celaver now. Interesting that Overclockers are now on the offensive. After being on the defensive for the last like 15 minutes, they're just suddenly out of their base. And Gamers 2 haven't been back for a while, so they're just going to kind of let them.
So one of the reasons is, look at this big wave in the bottom lane. SmittyJ is going to have to go down to clear it. Flash forward, Celaver's gone.
Celaver is quite dead.
And that's probably going to be the Baron right now for Gamers 2. With no real carry, well, the take fund is still there, but with no AD carry at this point, they can't really fight this Overclockers. They can't sit in front of the Baron. All they have to do now is hope that Kanzi San can somehow steal it away, but he's a level down already from the jungle, so this would take a mistake out of Gilius in order for Overclockers to get this.
Equalizer comes down. It will be chunking Heaver and Jez's very slightly. It was, yeah. Gillis did not even use a smite on that one, but that's very interesting because of all the players from Overclockers, I did not expect it to be Celaver to be the one who was caught out. He remained up with his flash and his ultimate, and Celaver overall is a pretty good AD carry at just not getting caught. So that was once in the blue moon type of play that Perks executed there in the mid lane.
They'll take it though. Gamers 2 will be absolutely happy with that. That should be enough really for them to close this game out when you look at things. They've neutralized the threat of the Riven. They're just about on the borderline that this Cassiopeia Tristana are starting to find their prominence. Tristana doesn't yet have a 4th item, which normally that's the point at which Tristana has completely taken over the game. At this point, it's still very much so kind of a balancing act between Jez's and Celaver over which one's going to deal more damage, but Jez's is comfortably sat on 3 items himself. Hasn't played the Ruin King, which isn't all that standard for a Sivir, but one thing to note is there is no real armor aside from a Randuin's Omen on the side of Overclockers, so hasn't opted for a Last Whisper, looking for a Bloodthirster next for Jez's just to keep himself alive for a little bit longer.
Yeah, do not disagree with that at all. Overclockers are trying their best to try and poke back against Gamers 2 who are taking their inhibitor without too much of a contest. 400 damage crit, quite a lot of damage, but not enough to send Gamers 2 packing. SmittyJ taking a very interesting route out of the base. Yeah, I mean, he utilized Valor, which did block a lot of that damage, but still, yeah.
Dragon coming up, that's Gamers 2's focus, or it looked like it, they pinged on it. But now they're going to go for bottom lane. I actually think they could be closing this game out fairly quickly from this point, especially now that Celiva was over on the red buff. They don't really have eyes on that, but with the Baron buff, it will be difficult for Overclockers to clear these waves out fast enough, especially once mid lane starts pushing in. Look at the damage coming out from Perkz already. This is going to be another tower falling, likely another inhibitor from it, and Overclockers pretty much have one last Hail Mary play if they want to stay in this game. That was the Gragas ultimate used, though. G2 get the inhibitor for it.
Yeah, Overclockers have been very good at disrupting the Riven, but not very good at disrupting Perkz and all the other damage threats on the side of Gamers 2. Bottom inhibitor has now fallen, so 2 inhibitors are down for Overclockers, and just one combo until Libic chunks 60% of his HP away. Now the top turret is being sieged in by these super minions and Gamers 2, and is this the time that Overclockers need to fight?
Well, they have to. At this point, they'll just hemorrhage the entirety of their base if they don't fight, but Celiva getting chunked is going to pretty much shut that down as an option. Next wave of minions has joined in the top lane. That's 3 Baroned up cannon minions firing away at that turret. It is a matter of time that this tower falls here. Overclockers have to go now.
Well, they're gonna try for it. Kondi-san jumps in, gets the knock up onto Gilius, and he'll take him out. Perkz will be going into Zhonya's, so will Kuban. Heaver is going deep, and now he'll be backing off. Celiva getting the damage onto Smitty, blasts him away with the Buster Shot. This is currently a 2 for 2. Jez is now going deep, onto 1, going on to 2, gets shut down by Celiva, and that's a 3 for 3 overall. Perkz is still alive with Heaver. Is this enough to close out the game? Maybe not, but it is enough to take the top in here.
Celiva's coming back, though, with home guards. Flash forward.
Flash looking for the kill, gets the reset, but Perkz is gone. The Emperor is out of here. And Overclockers live for another day, but they just lost their inhib. Oh, it's still alive.
Yeah, this one's still alive. However, they did lose 2 others and a lot of damage on Nexus turrets. But I want to take another look back at this fight. Overclockers had to fight this. There was no way they couldn't. Big key factor that Perkz gets locked down to begin this one. Yes, they managed to get damage down onto him, but Perkz couldn't quite get Take Fun and Celiva out of this fight to begin with, and that's why G2 had to start backing away. Smitty J couldn't find the room for his damage either. This late into the game, he hasn't snowballed quite heavily enough. Jez is with the flash forward play, got the kill, but I wonder if G2 could have looked to maybe take an Nexus turret or 2 if he hadn't have flashed forward.
To be fair, Celiva did double crit him.
Okay, to that point though, he's facing a late game Tristana that now has 4 items completed. So
that is true.
I kind of agree that yes, there were 2 crits, but at the same time, I subscribe to the school of don't flash into a mostly full health Tristana late game and expect a 1v1.
I mean, I don't disagree. It also wasn't a 1v1, it was a 3v1 that he jumped into.
1v1, 3v1.
It's pretty much all the same, really. But
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, like, it wasn't 100% crit, right? So he still, like, got a little RNG, so he was just like, okay, praying to the gods of RNG. He was like, don't crit me, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Kondi-san.
unlucky, I guess, would be the the actual
Would be
term
the
for
league-
this
the-
one.
the league
It's,
solo queue term.
At this point, the fact is G2 is still way ahead of this game. So one more team fight, or one more push here for G2 should close this game out. That shouldn't really be too much of a speed bump on the way to closing this out, but Overclockers, G2 now have seen what they can do, so they have to respect the team fighting potential coming from Overclockers, but G2 certainly are going to take this one a little bit slower to close this out, but it has been a fairly slow game overall. 9 kills apiece is not something we're used to at 40 minutes into the game.
Especially with these setups, and especially with these 2 teams. Yes, they do like to go a little later than most of the challenger teams we have, but still, wasn't completely expected. Over time, this top inhibitor will eventually go down. It will just take a little while longer. The minions are the ones who are doing most of the work on the top inhibitor currently.
Well, it's okay. They're going for a pool party sometime soon, so they're going to get a vacation from after all of this overtime. So they'll be able to enjoy themselves in the summer sun. But
Nice.
It is the summer split here. This is our first game that, ooh, the inhibitor push was starting to come out. The inhib has respawned though.
Well, this is going to be the last fight here for Overclockers. Libic will go down, but they do take out Gillis and Heaver. This is down all to the carries now. Oh, they will take out Takefun, however. Kuban also gets annihilated, and now Smitty has decided this is his time to turn up in the game, and is now 4-1-4, 14 kills to 12. The middle inhibitor goes down, but they could realistically just finish the game.
Yeah, that is going to be the game for Gamers 2. An unorthodox composition, but it worked out.
It did indeed. Now heading on to the Nexus itself, Perkz and Smitty will be the ones to finish out this game. And Gamers 2 take this game up against Overclockers and finish the week 2-0 in their first week of the summer split.